6 months ago, I had a panic attack on a Tuesday afternoon. I was walking to get coffee, same route I'd taken 1,000 times. Nothing was wrong, but suddenly my chest tightened. My vision narrowed. My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I stood on that sidewalk, surrounded by people, buildings, and noise, and I genuinely thought I was dying. When I got to a therapist, she asked all the usual questions: work, stress, relationship problems, sleep issues, diet. Nothing explained it. She gave me a diagnosis: generalized anxiety disorder. A prescription sent me home. But here's the thing. I didn't feel anxious about anything. There was no thought causing this. It was something else. Something I couldn't name. So I started investigating. I'm Nadia Okonkwo. I spent 9 years as a neuroscience researcher at University College London. I've published peer-reviewed papers on stress, neurobiology, and consulted for urban planning agencies in 3 countries. What I found didn't just explain my panic attacks. It explained a global mental health crisis we've been blaming on the wrong causes for decades. What if the anxiety, the depression, the loneliness, the feeling that something is fundamentally wrong but you can't name it? What if none of that is primarily about your psychology? What if it's about the physical environment you have to survive inside every single day? What if your city is literally rewiring your brain? Not metaphorically, measurably, provably. Let me show you what I found. Think about the last time you walked down a street lined with mature trees, light filtering through the canopy birds. Unaben, pavement and alive. How did you feel in your body? Your shoulders probably dropped. Your breathing slowed. Something in your chest loosened. Now think about the last time you walked through nothing but concrete. Glass towers, a parking structure, new trees, new benches, just flat, gray, repetitive surfaces. How did you feel? You've probably walked faster, looked at your phone, felt a low hum of something you couldn't name. Not fear, not sadness, just an invisible weight pressing down on your nervous system. When I had that panic attack, I was standing on a street exactly like that. No trees, no detail, no life. And I thought, what if that wasn't a coincidence? The study that changed everything for me was published in 2011 in Nature, one of the most prestigious scientific journals on Earth. A team led by Andreas Lindenberg put people inside brain scanners and subjected them to social stress tasks. People who currently lived in cities showed significantly higher activation of the amygdala compared to rural residents. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, the structure that fires when you see a snake, hear a scream, sense danger. City dwellers had amygdalae running hotter, louder, more reactive, all the time. But it got worse. People raised in cities showed dysregulation in a region called the perigenual anterior cingulate cortex. This is the area that regulates the amygdala, processes negative emotion, governs threat response, and in people who grew up urban, this region showed altered patterns that persisted into adulthood. Regardless of where they live now, the city you grew up in didn't just affect your mood, it altered the development of your brain's emotional regulation architecture. Permanently, not because of trauma, simply because of geometry, surfaces, sounds. The relentless artificial stimulation of a landscape never designed for a human nervous system. I called Dr. Lindenberg directly. I asked him, is the city literally making people mentally ill? Urban environments produce measurable changes in brain structure and function associated with increased psychiatric risk, he told me. The amygdala hyperactivation, the cingulate dysregulation. These are the same patterns we see in anxiety disorders and social stress syndromes. The city isn't the only cause, but it is a cause, and it's one we've almost entirely ignored. I asked why nobody was talking about this. He laughed, because the city is everywhere. It's the water we swim in. People don't question the environment they've normalized. They question themselves instead. That's when I realized we've been treating the symptoms while ignoring the most obvious cause. but I needed to understand why. What specifically about cities triggers these responses? I spent 6 months finding out. Let's start with your eyes. Richard Taylor is a physicist at the University of Oregon who has spent decades studying fractal patterns. Fractals are self-repeating geometric patterns that exist at every scale in nature. A tree trunk splits into branches. Branches split into smaller branches into twigs. Each level repeats the same pattern at a different scale. Coastlines are fractals. Clouds are fractals. River systems are fractals. The blood vessels in your retina are fractals. Your visual processing system evolved, surrounded by fractal geometry for hundreds of thousands of years. Taylor's research proved something remarkable. When people are exposed to fractal patterns within a specific dimensional range, the range found in nature, physiological stress markers drop by up to 60%. Alpha brain waves increase. Skin conductance decreases. Heart rate variability improves. The visual cortex processes these patterns with extraordinary efficiency because it evolved specifically to do so. Fractals are the native visual language of the human brain. I reached out to Dr. Taylor for this video. When you remove fractals from the visual environment, he told me, the visual cortex doesn't just find nothing to process. It actively searches for information that isn't there, like an antenna scanning for a signal in dead space. And the brain interprets this absence as something wrong with the environment. Something to be wary of. Now look at buildings constructed in the last 70 years. A typical office tower. A glass curtain wall. A concrete parking structure. What's the fractal dimension of these surfaces? Essentially zero. Flat. Repetitive. Geometrically dead. This doesn't just fail to calm you. It actively stresses you. I tested this myself. Through a research program I advised for, I got access to a portable EEG headset and walked through 2 London neighborhoods. First, the City of London Financial District, glass towers, blank facades, minimal street detail. Second, Bloomsbury, Victorian architecture, ornate facades. Trees, detail at every scale. In the financial district, my stress markers were elevated the entire time. Attention scattered, breathing shallow. In Bloomsbury, within 4 minutes, my brain shifted into a measurably calmer state. Alpha waves increased. Stress signatures dropped. Same brain, same day, same person, different environment. Completely different neurological response. And it's not just what you see. Your ears are under assault too. The World Health Organization has classified urban noise pollution as the 2nd largest environmental health risk in Europe, behind only air pollution in terms of disability-adjusted life, years lost across the continent. The data comes from the European Environment Agency's 2020 report. Chronic exposure to traffic noise above 55 decibels, the level of a busy urban street, increases cardiovascular disease risk by 25%. Elevates cortisol, fragments sleep architecture, even when you don't consciously wake up. A 2005 Lancet study found that aircraft noise near Heathrow was associated with significantly impaired reading ability in children. But researchers at Brighton and Sussex Medical School discovered something even more important. It's not just volume, it's the type of sound. They put people in brain scanners and played 2 types of sounds at identical volumes. Natural sounds, birdsong, flowing water, wind, rain, artificial urban sounds, traffic, construction, mechanical hums, same volume, same duration. Completely opposite neurological response. Natural sounds shifted the brain toward parasympathetic dominance, rest and digest. Recovery mode, the default mode network became active. Stress dropped. Artificial urban sounds triggered sympathetic activation. Fight or flight. Default mode suppressed. Cortisol rose. Bora. The brain treats mechanical sound as a signal that the environment isn't safe, because for 99.9% of human evolutionary history, anything else meant danger. Dr. Cassandra Gould Van Praagh, who led the Brighton study, told me a single bird singing reduces stress markers more than expensive headphones. One bird, one song. More effective than our most advanced audio technology. Because your brain doesn't need silence, it needs the right signal. When I moved to my current apartment, I specifically chose a flat backing onto a garden with trees. Within 3 weeks, my anxiety dropped. Not because I was thinking differently, because there were birds outside my window. That's how simple and how profound this is. But there's one more assault happening every night. Over the past 15 years, cities worldwide replaced sodium vapor streetlights with LED, more efficient, hailed as green infrastructure. It was a neurological disaster. Most city LEDs emit significant blue spectrum light. Blue light during the day, beneficial, signals daytime, suppresses melatonin, promotes alertness. Blue light at night, catastrophic. A study found that blue-rich light in the evening suppresses melatonin production by up to 85%. Melatonin is a vital antioxidant and immune modulator. The American Medical Association warned in 2016 that high-intensity LED streetlights contribute to sleep disruption, obesity, depression, and diabetes. I live on a street with LED streetlights. For months, I couldn't figure out why I was waking up at 3 a.m. It was the streetlight. I taped blackout film directly onto the glass, multiple layers. My sleep normalized within 5 days. The streetlight outside your window may be doing more damage to your sleep than your phone screen. Take control of your environment. Now, I need to be honest about something. Everything I've shown you is real, peer-reviewed science. But the relationship between cities and mental health involves confounding variables that are difficult to untangle. People with existing mental health conditions may move to cities for better treatment access, inflating the correlation. Rural areas have their own challenges. Isolation, lack of services, economic decline. I asked Dr. Mia Lindenberg about this directly. The confounders are real, he acknowledged. But even when we control for socioeconomic status, the urban effect persists. The environment itself has an independent effect on brain function. I'm claiming cities are a significant, measurable, and ignored cause. And unlike genetics or childhood trauma, the built environment is something we can actually change. Are there cities that have figured out how to be different? Yes. And what they're doing is remarkable. Vienna has been ranked the world's most livable city for over a decade, because its urban design is neurologically sophisticated. Active ground floors, green space integrated at every level. I spent a week in Vienna last year, and I noticed something. My shoulders were down. My breathing was slower. I walked without urgency. My nervous system had permission to relax, not because of vacation, because of the geometry of the space. Singapore is the world's leading biophilic city, where integrating nature into infrastructure is a legal mandate. Buildings contain more vegetated surface area than their land footprint. You're almost never more than seconds away from living plant matter. Dr. Peter Newman told me Singapore proves density and neurological health aren't incompatible. You can build a hyperdense city that is neurologically nourishing. Barcelona implemented superblocks, 9-block clusters, where through traffic is removed and streets return to pedestrians, cyclists, and community life. Data from 2020, noise dropped 5 decibels. Air quality improved. Green space expanded. 74% of residents reported improved well-being. The city didn't prescribe medication. It redesigned 9 blocks. The 3-3-0-300 rule states every person should see 3 trees from home, have 30% canopy cover, and be within 300 meters of green space. Research found cities meeting this threshold show significantly lower rates of depression, anxiety, and premature mortality. Implementing the 3-3-0-300 rule globally could prevent over 30,000 premature deaths per year. No pharmaceutical intervention required. Whose trees? I now evaluate every apartment, every office, every neighborhood by the 3-3-0-300 standard. But the future of neurourbanism isn't just trees and pedestrian streets. It's the convergence of neuroscience with artificial intelligence and digital twins. And it's more powerful and more dangerous than anything I've described so far. Wearable EEG headsets are being used in research programs in London, Melbourne, and Berlin, mapping real-time brain activity onto city geography. I participated in one of these programs. For the first time, you can see which streets calm the brain and which streets agitate it. The city becomes a neurological landscape visible, measurable, designable. Dr. Eve Edelstein at the Academy of Neuroscience for Architecture showed me one of these maps. Look at this intersection. Red, high-stress activation. Now look at this park 2 blocks away. Blue, complete neurological recovery. Same participants. Same day. The difference is entirely environmental. AI systems can now analyze any streetscape photograph and predict its neurological impact with up to 87% accuracy. Feed an image of a proposed development into an algorithm, and it tells you whether that building will stress people out or calm them down, whether that street will invite lingering or trigger escape. This technology is already being integrated into digital twin platforms in Singapore, Helsinki, and Shanghai, complete virtual replicas of physical cities where planners can test neurological impacts before breaking ground. This is the smart city revolution that actually matters. Not smart because it has sensors. Smart because it understands what the data means for the 3-pound organ between your ears. But I would be lying if I stopped there, because every technology that can heal can also manipulate. Casinos already use neuroscience-based design. No windows to disrupt your sense of time. Disorienting layouts preventing you from finding exits. Sounds calibrated to trigger dopaminergic responses. Every element engineered to make you spend more money and lose awareness of time. Now scale that expertise to an entire city. If we can design environments that reduce stress, we can design environments that increase compliance. Google's Sidewalk Labs proposed exactly this for Toronto's waterfront AI. Sensors and responsive design integrated into every layer. It was cancelled in 2020 after public backlash over one question. Who controls the data? Dr. Bianca Wiley told me. The proposal was essentially to make the built environment into a product that learns from residents without their consent. That's not a public space. That's a behavioral research facility you happen to live in. And what happens when this converges with authoritarian governance? A city that doesn't need to police you because it can calm you, distract you, pacify you through geometry, light, and sound. Not a prison. Something more subtle. An environment so perfectly tuned to your neurology that discontent itself has been designed out of the experience. Dr. Rafael Calvo told me. The same tools that measure stress can also detect dissent and suppress it. The question is, what governance structures we put in place to prevent it. Right now, those structures don't exist. Ethicists and neuroscientists are calling for neurological rights, cognitive liberty, mental privacy, psychological integrity. None of these rights exist in any legal framework on Earth. And the technologies that could violate them are being deployed faster than the guardrails can be constructed. After 6 months of this investigation, I moved, not out of London, but to a different neighborhood. I used everything I'd learned. A flat meeting the 3-3-0-300 rule. 3 trees visible from my window. A park within 300 meters. A street with active facades. Architectural detail. No blank walls. Blackout film on the window. A small water feature on the balcony for natural sound. I started walking different routes, through parks instead of main roads, through old architecture instead of glass towers. 3 months later, the panic attack stopped. My baseline anxiety dropped 2 levels I hadn't felt since childhood. Sleep improved. Attention improved. Mood stabilized. Same person, same brain, different container. And that made all the difference. I'm not saying this works for everyone. Mental health is complex. Many people need medication, therapy, and support systems I can't provide. But I am saying this. If you've tried everything and something still feels wrong, maybe it's not you. Maybe it's where you are. Tomorrow morning, you're going to step outside your door. And for the first time, you're going to notice the walls, the trees, or their absence. The sounds in the air, the quality of the light, the width of the road. You know now what that concrete wall is doing to your visual cortex, what that traffic noise is doing to your autonomic nervous system, what that street light is doing to your melatonin, what that absence of green is doing to your attention and your fundamental capacity to feel okay. You can't unknow this. Cities are brain environments. The built world is a neurological intervention whether we design it to be or not. The cities that understand this will define the next century. The ones that don't will keep producing the same epidemic of anxiety and loneliness. If this changed how you see your city, I need 3 things from you. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. Next week, I'm investigating a building material proven to reduce stress, used for 10,000 years before modern architecture abandoned it. Leave a comment. After watching this, what's the one thing about your city you'll never unsee? A wall, a road, a missing tree. Share this with someone struggling with anxiety they can't explain. Someone who moved and something feels wrong, but they can't name it. I'm Nadia Okonkwo. On this channel, we investigate the invisible forces shaping human consciousness. Stay aware. Stay critical. And never stop asking what your environment is doing to your mind. I'll see ya in the next one.